Carly Fiorina spoke about repealing Obamacare last night, and what she wants to replace it with is comical.
Just to be clear, you said you would repeal Obamacare. Absolutely. But what is the alternative? And how does that help small business?
The alternative is to allow states to manage high-risk pools for those who really need help. Look, I'm a cancer survivor. Okay? I understand that you cannot have someone who's battled cancer just become known as a pre-existing condition. I understand that you cannot allow families to go bankrupt if they truly need help. But I also understand that Obamacare isn't helping anyone. We're throwing more and more people into Medicaid, and fewer doctors are taking those payments. The point is Obamacare is crushing small businesses. It is not helping the families it was intended to help. So let us allow states to manage high-risk pools. Let us try the one thing in health insurance we've never tried, the free market. Let us ensure that as patients and customers, we have the information to shop wisely for our health care.
All right, that really gets under my skin. She says she's a cancer survivor, and then she goes on to say at the end there, we need to try the free market. Carly, that's the system that we had beforehand, which necessitated reform, where we got Obamacare. Now, I prefer a Medicare for all system, or at the very least, we should have gotten a public option. We didn't get any of that stuff, so we did the right-wing reform proposal, which was still better than nothing, but it is right-wing, of Obamacare, the individual mandate system, expanding Medicaid. And she's like, no, free market. Well, that was the problem. The problem was free market. And Carly, you contradicted yourself because apparently you don't understand that in a true free market, there are going to be pre-existing conditions, and the insurance companies can reject you for that. That's what a free market is. You need the government to step in and say you're not allowed to reject people for pre-existing conditions for them to not do it. Left on their own, they're obviously going to reject anybody who they think is a really high risk. Now, this is where her high-risk pool idea comes in, where she says, well, the states can deal with high-risk pools, and that would, among the people who are, the worst investment, so to speak, that would take care of them. Okay, but what about everybody else, Carly? What about when you're not a high risk, but you do get cancer out of nowhere? What then? How about that person? In the free market system, you're screwed if you didn't already have health care. And even if you did have health care, under the system we had, you could still go bankrupt. And actually, we still have that problem today under Obamacare. I mean, you can pay your premiums every month, and you can have a gold plan, a great plan, but then when you actually get cancer, get some sort of horrific illness, you get a giant bill. So think about that. You pay your premiums every month. And then when something bad happens, they go, no, it's totally cool. You pay the first $15,000 and then we'll come in and help you. Well, then why the fuck have I been paying the premiums all along? No, but guys, this is a private insurance system. This is what's going to happen in a private insurance and a private healthcare system. Everything is for profit. And since you determine that people's health is for profit, you've set up a perverse incentive. Now, I'm not totally anti-capitalist in the sense that, I don't think there's some areas and many areas where the profit motive makes sense. But when it comes to life or death situations, when it comes to healthcare and health insurance, you shouldn't have the profit motive involved, because think about it. What does the insurance company want to spend their money on? What do they want to spend their money on? Well, they're going to want to, like any corporation would, because they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to do so, they're going to want to take that money and pad the bottom line. They're going to want to make profit. So, how do you make more profit? Deny care as much as possible. That's the problem. It's a systemic problem in a private insurance and a private health care system. And Carly Fiorina is acting like we never tried that shit before. We had nothing but that until recently. Sure, we have the VA for veterans, we have Medicare for older people, Medicaid for the poorest people, but the middle class is getting fucking screwed. The middle class and the middle aged, they're getting totally screwed. They're getting hammered. We pay more for healthcare in the U.S. than anywhere around the world, and we get worse outcomes. So she's just wrong in what her proposal is. She wants to go back to the system where 45,000 people died every year because they didn't have access to basic health care. That's her solution. And then let me just close on this here. She says, Obamacare isn't helping anyone. And what's hilariously ironic is that later on in the debate, she goes on to say Hillary Clinton lies all the time. Well, you were called out for roughly 18 lies in the past few debates, and that's the clearest lie I've ever seen. I know because Obamacare helped me. Again, I'm not even the biggest fan of Obamacare. I wish we had a Medicare for all system, or I wish we had a public option. But Obamacare helped me in that, what I do here, this is a small business essentially. I'm an entrepreneur of sorts, and I didn't have health insurance through an employer because I don't have an employer. I'm an affiliate with TYT, but they're not my employer. I'm an affiliate, so I'm my own thing that's linked up with them. So I don't have insurance, so what was I going to do? Before Obamacare, flat out, guys, it simply would have been too expensive for me to get any insurance. Except the catastrophic kind, which means that if anything happens to me, unless I'm on the verge of death, they're not going to cover anything. And even if I am on the verge of death, they'll cover some of it, and I still got to pay a tremendous amount of it. So I couldn't afford any health insurance. Any health insurance. With Obamacare, made it affordable for me. So when you say some dumb shit like Obamacare isn't helping anyone, that's just not true.